Hello, my name is Emily, as you may or may not know, and today we are going to be talking about having a little casual chit chat video about the era of early Instagram. 2010 BI, before influencers, as we know them today at least. Obviously, as a content creator, I am thankful for the ways that Instagram has allowed me to show different sides of myself to my audience, like my fashion sense and my music and art and things like that. And of course for vanity as well. However, before clout was really even a term, right? Instagram, it was for you, your friends, your family, a hideous border around your photo. And that was it. And that's what social media was really supposed to be in the very beginning, right? Simply a way to connect with people you knew. We're gonna talk about certain relics of old Instagram, right? We got Like for a TBH, Ask FM, those absolutely just incredible 4-panel cringe comics, Carmex, Finstas, and just like the earnestness of that time that has developed into the foundation for modern day cringe. But before we get into the specific staples of early Instagram, I want to talk about Instagram currently and kind of just compare and contrast a little bit. Because today, the idea of the influencer has basically changed the way we view Instagram forever. Instagram is really one of the more OG platforms that's still around today, along with YouTube, right? Other platforms, they did not have the same fate. As it stands right now, for many active users, Instagram isn't really a place just to connect with friends and family, but it's almost a portfolio of sorts. It can be kind of a curation of yourself and your work, especially for people in the creative field, which I happen to be in, so I would be lying to you if I said I didn't use Instagram that way. Nowadays, if you want to get a job in TV, film, music, modeling, photography, fashion, anything like that, it's really wise to post on Instagram, even if you don't want to. I know a lot of you don't want to. It does just make things easier for yourself and for the people who might want to hire you. For many, Instagram is a resume of sorts. All right, thank you so much for coming. We'll get started with the interview now. Do you have any questions for me? Yeah, how do you know Amanda? Sorry? We have a lot of mutuals. That goes a long way in this industry. Right. Well, I met Amanda on a set last year, actually, on a narrative short that I co-wrote with my best friend. We were both in just a really terrible car accident, and I'm sorry, what are you doing? Oh, I'm using my Raycon earbuds to listen to some of the cinematography videos on your profile. This message is brought to you by Raycon. Sorry, I was kind of hoping to talk. Why are you yelling? I can still hear you. It's an open ear design. How does that work? Hello, I'm the one interviewing you. I thought I was supposed to be asking the questions. You haven't really. Raycon Essential Open Earbuds sit just outside of your ear canal so that you can get a clear sound while still being aware of your surroundings. You can hear what's going on around you while listening to your favorite music and podcasts. And now is a great time to get them because they'll be 15% off. Wow, they really are lightweight. Thank you for saying that. They are really lightweight. And you know what? I use them whenever I'm going to the gym, whenever I'm going for a run. They've seriously become my go-to. The ear hook part rotates, so they always just stay in no matter how much movement I'm doing. I've never had them fall off, and they've become an amazing addition to my routine. I use them pretty much every day now. They have multi-point connection. You can switch seamlessly between devices without any hassle. I've used them for both my phone and my laptop. They have 8 hours of playtime and 36 hours of battery with the charging case. Raycon has over 3 million customers, and you can get incredible sound quality that is affordable, okay? And if they're not for you, then they have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Raycon Essential Open Earbuds are the perfect addition to your everyday routine. Make sure to go to buyraycon.com/notevenemilyopen for 15% off. That's right, 15% off, and thank you so much to Raycon for sponsoring today's video. Okay, now back to the interview. Oh, she left. And this is not to say that your Instagram cannot be a portfolio and authentic at the same time. A lot of the times your work, hopefully, would be authentic to yourself. And this is also not to say that people in the very beginning of Instagram were inherently authentic either. However, in the early days of Instagram, you weren't trying to be a fake version of yourself for strangers. You were trying to be a fake version of yourself for people that you knew in real life. The way that it should be. With the emergence of the influencer, as we know it today, likes hold a certain social capital that was never seen before when the app first started. I mean, sure, I remember people in school being like, can you like my photo so that my likes go from 29 to 30? But like everything else in this world, there's been a bit of inflation. I remember when I first got Instagram, I was in like middle school, I would get super excited when my amount of likes went from just like a list of usernames to an actual number. Because in early Instagram, if you had less than 11 likes, it would just showcase like every single person's individual username, like kittycat123 like this, comma, doggy dog 456 like this. So when you got more than 11 likes and it transformed into an actual number, that was like, hallelujah, rejoice, rejoice. Once you hit that, it's like, wait, should I run for prom queen? I didn't even mean to, but I run this town now, bitch. Give me your fucking lunch money. I don't even want it. This is just how things are now. But then nowadays, for a lot of people, if they get less than, say, 100 likes on a post, they might just want to delete their post entirely out of shame. Whereas if you had gotten that amount way back when you were in middle school, you would have been jumping for joy and maybe even jumping in fear for internet safety. Who are all of these random people liking my post? And I don't know, maybe it depends on how you look at it. But although we have seen this numerical inflation with likes in terms of people having a higher standard for themselves of how many likes they want their post to get, I think back then, each individual like might have had more weight because a lot of the times, these likes were coming from people who you actually knew, not just total strangers. I can't speak for everyone in my age demographic. Also, I'm realizing this whole kind of conversation is kind of like, who gives a fuck? But I'm just talking, right? I can't speak for everyone in my age demographic. But I remember some of the popular girls, they were getting like 100+ likes on their photos. And those were people who they actually knew those girls personally, or if they didn't know them personally, it was like the only thing separating them was being a school district away and like the ability to drive. But it's like, oh, I know this girl because she's like a hot girl from another school and she's a cheerleader and I'm on the basketball team, so I see her like twice a year. So it's like, what carries more weight? A singular like from someone who knows me and has had a conversation with me, or 5 likes from strangers who maybe wouldn't even care if I lived or died? What's going on? I'm hearing noises in my room. And I feel like content creators, right, have maybe an interesting perspective on this because I remember when I would get excited about 20 likes. What's going on? I'm scared right now. Guys, is my room haunted? As I was saying, I think that content creators have an interesting perspective because I remember when I was younger and I would get excited about 20 likes on something and all these people were my friends. And now, if I get below like 5,000 likes, I'm like, wait, am I flopping and does everyone hate me? Do I need to take this time to accept the fact that irrelevancy is a destiny heavily feared but hardly avoidable? And because likes has become so integral to the platform, a lot of people have expressed that posting on Instagram almost feels desperate now. Like a humiliation ritual. Which is great and definitely how you want users of your app to feel. And you can hide likes now, but there's almost this sentiment around hiding likes where it's like, your flop is showing, babe. You're trying to hide those likes because we know you're not getting very many. And although obviously not everyone is posting to become an influencer, and some people just truly don't care about likes because, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all gonna be 6 feet under anyway. Love my positivity. But I think on a platform where you are seeing micro influencers get like thousands of likes, or bigger influencers and celebrities get hundreds of thousands of likes, and you can't even break 150, I could understand this sense of, oh, are you not impressed? I guess with present day Instagram, posting just feels like there's higher stakes for some reason. There's an aura of, hey everyone, look at me. Does anyone like me? Just, yeah, a bit of desperation towards your followers a little bit. Hello everyone, thank you so much for coming and thank you for following me. Could I just get a quick show of hands? Who thinks that I'm pretty? Okay, a few of you, thank you. No one wants to double tap or no one wants to verbalize anything? I can help with the brainstorming process. Some people might say divine, gorgeous, cunt. That doesn't seem to be resonating. Sorry, it's been 10 minutes and only 4 of you have actually said anything, yet there's 2,000 of you in here. So let's just think about that a little bit. Okay, how about this one? I'm showing more of my body this time. Does that help? I mean, hey, we had a pretty good conversation at that queer mixer in 2022. You don't want to say anything about this? Why is your ex in this room? I thought that you blocked them. Hey, you, my coworker from 4 years ago. What thoughts? Sexy, cute, pretty, anything? I think something that a lot of people miss about early Instagram too is just this mindset of just posting to post and not worrying about how it looks on your grid, not worrying about a brand or an aesthetic. People would post a picture of a sandwich, just a fugly sandwich, right? And the caption would just be, had an amazing sandwich. Back then, for some reason, you would feel inclined to take all of the nail polishes you own, put them in a lineup, snap a photo, and the caption would simply be #photography. I just really wish that I kept my old private Instagram because it's such a representation of the time. I remember I would take a picture of just my guitar laying on the floor, slap a sepia filter on it, and just call it a fucking day. I once posted a screenshot of something I wrote in my own notes app, which was swag, something we Asians got. And then I just posted that to my main grid with the caption probably said something like, it's true. I remember another time I posted a PixArt collage of like at least 9 selfies of myself, just in one collage. And then I made the caption, what can I say? I'm self-centered, or some bullshit like that. And I can't say that all of those things combined to make a super cohesive grid aesthetic, but that's because back then, no one gave a fuck. And I think people miss that, right? They miss when you would be able to post small, genuine moments of your life as opposed to trying to paint a certain picture of your life. However, it's also funny how nostalgia tends to paint certain eras of our life in certain ways, because this style of posting where it's just like genuine small moments of your life was kind of heavily criticized at the moment. Back then it was sort of this mindset of, who gives a fuck about your avocado toast? Just eat it. Why are you posting it? I feel like with early Instagram, the question was more, why should I care about the things that you post, rather than today's question of, why do I care so much about what I post? It's funny because I just distinctly remember people expressing their irritation with having to parse through people's mundane photos or, attempts at photography with an iPod Touch. So although we crave that sort of authenticity today, back then people kind of thought it was dumb as hell. Now, this piece was actually taken circa 2012 and it is titled Bubblegum Eyeballs, Nom Nom Nom, #awesome sauce, #epic win, #photography. Wow, it's so simple yet refreshing. It's raw. It makes me think about the state of social media today and how things have changed so much. Yes, this piece has evolved to become quite thought-provoking for many. However, that is not how the piece was received at the time. How was it first received? Actually, if you hit the numbers 407 on your audio guide, you'll be able to hear recordings of people's initial testimonies.
I mean, can you just eat the damn popsicle? All right, who gives a f***? I'm sorry, am I supposed to give a fuck?
Have you guys heard of this little thing called a fuck? I don't give any of those. However, I think we are attempting to get back to this sort of authenticity with the photo dump, right? I think most of the time now when people post on Instagram, it's always a fat steaming dump. I have never within the past maybe like 2 years, posted a singular photo on Instagram and thought to myself, this feels sufficient. It's almost like these somewhat good days of Twitter where they finally increased the word count. And then it's like, okay, well, now I can't write just a single sentence. Look at the opportunity that God has given me. I feel like the Instagram carousel has helped us get a little bit closer to, that old school authenticity, if you want to call it that, because, after you get that first picture, the big kahunga of sorts over with, you can post whatever the hell you want and you don't have to sacrifice the aesthetic of your grid at all. But the thing about the authentic photo dump is that the authenticity still feels kind of curated, and that's a bit of an oxymoron, no? And take it from me as a content creator, right? I'm still thinking about how my post is going to look even after the first picture. I am putting myself into the shoes of the viewer, and I'm thinking how they're going to feel when they're scrolling through my dump. That's just the truth, and if any other influencer is telling you otherwise, I hate to say this, but I'm inclined to say that they're lying. I mean, I've had friends ask me before to review their Instagram dumps before they post it, right? Should I have this, picture of my semi-spilled matcha before or after this blurry selfie of me where it looks like I'm kind of dropping my phone mid-photo take? Nowadays, everything lends itself to an aesthetic, right? And that can't really be helped because posting on social media, the point is to be perceived. And when you're being perceived, oftentimes you're being put into a box. So when someone is sprinkling a bunch of, natural day-to-day, candidness and the chaos sort of photos into their dump, that lends itself to maybe like a girl next door vibe or an unfiltered city girl vibe. Like in today's day and age with how Instagram is used, I could take a blurry picture of literal garbage, an ashtray, and just like a metal pipe, and then becomes just like grunge, Don't get me wrong, I love posting a fat, huge, steaming photo dump. And while a lot of people, myself included, can post true snippets of their lives, I think in this era of just like late stage capitalism where even authenticity can be used as a marketing tactic, it still somehow feels just like inherently performative. Like, I don't understand why this isn't reading as authentic. Like, I'm literally trying so hard. Yeah, that might be the problem. Do you know how difficult it is to get a lipstick stain on a coffee cup that's not perfect, but also not like messy, sloppy? I thought you didn't drink coffee. I don't. It's just a prop. Oh, like, I know this isn't rocket science, but it feels pretty damn close. Sorry, I know you work for NASA or whatever. I'm not trying to minimize your work. That's okay. Have you ever been in this situation? Too many influencers nowadays are struggling to find that perfect balance between authentic yet aspirational. The vibe of the girl next door, but the girl's house is a little bit bigger than yours and her family has a granite kitchen island and you don't. Thanks to our service, Authentistagram, you can get one-on-one social media marketing to achieve authenticity without sacrificing your aesthetic. We have professional photo dump engineers to help you curate the perfect order for your posts. Wait, but shouldn't the sexy but cute selfie be first? Right, so you would think that, but actually the faceless outfit check with you holding the iced beverage is the much better option. And then of course, we'll need a random picture of graffiti that says something maybe semi-profound, preferably it's on the sidewalk and it says something like, I'll be waiting. Then, of course, you put this sexy but cute selfie, and then you have a picture of food, then a sunset, and then last but not least, a picture of you and some friends on some security camera footage, perhaps at a gas station or some sort of department store. Wow, how do you know all of this? I have a master's in judging. We also have a professional candid shot photographer to help take your pictures from posed to posed just like a little bit in a different way. Okay, so just go ahead, be in your body. The goal here is to be as natural as possible. Period. Okay, but not like that. What? Can you laugh? Like something funny just happened in your book or something? Oh, well, this book is about anti-Chinese sentiment in the history of xenophobia in the United States. Okay, can you just pretend like you think that's funny? With Authentistagram, we can guarantee a grounded, down-to-earth, authentic look to your brand. As long as you try, of course. Early Instagram also has a very distinct editing style. And I want to make a video about, photo editing in today's day and age, so I won't talk about modern day Instagram too much, but I do feel that each era of Instagram has an essence of less is more, but just in different ways, right? Presently, I think people edit their Instagram photos with a less is more mindset in the way that they're making more edits, but they don't want the edits to be noticeable. They want you to think that their body actually looks like that, or that their skin really is that clear. But for early Instagram, I think the less is more mindset comes from just slapping a filter on the photo that basically changes everything about it and then just calling it a day. Maybe if you were feeling ambitious, you would put an ugly border around it. When Instagram first came out, it was supposed to have this sort of artsy photography, sort of hipster vibe. And obviously nowadays it's giving a bit more late stage capitalism. But in the beginning, the filters were supposed to be heavily stylized and give Instagram a distinct look. And it definitely worked, right? When I see certain filters, I'm like, oh yes, this is 2012 Instagram, and it is very recognizable. But now I don't know how many people use the in-house Instagram filters anymore. And that's crazy to think about because, darling, that used to be home base. I would take a picture of my belly button Uggs with the top edge of the boot curving over like a neglected guinea pig's overgrown claw. And then before I even knew it, my finger was already hitting the Nashville filter and turning up the vignette so much that it looked like a squid inked on the photo, but only around the edges for some reason. So I thought it would be fun if we went through some of the old Instagram filters and just reminisced a little bit. And I also want to play a game where I say what would be posted with each filter, just solely based on the name and vibe of it. This video is kind of extremely stupid. Are you guys enjoying it? X Pro 2, obviously we're posting a skateboard. Early bird, okay, the tweet. The infamous tweet about the woman enjoying a cup of coffee in her backyard with her husband every morning. If instead of a tweet, that was an Instagram post in 2012, she would have used the early bird filter to take a selfie of her wrapped up in a cardigan with a coffee mug with her husband reading a book in the background. And she would have snapped a photo, used early bird, and the caption just would have been the same. Love spending afternoons in the garden with my husband. That sort of vibe. Toaster. Okay, so that's gonna go ahead and be a filter for a picture taken at the early days of Coachella. Vanessa Hudgens would have used this to take a photo of her in an outfit that could, be questionable today in terms of cultural appropriation. But back then, she really didn't mean it like that. Inkwell. Inkwell is gonna go ahead and be 14-year-old, ripped out a page from a Moleskine journal, something like that. Their first attempts at poetry. They're really getting into poetry. They've been seeing a lot of this stuff on Tumblr. Of course, it's coinciding with Tumblr. They're writing in cursive poetry about they're afraid they're never going to find love. And then they're going to post their poem onto Instagram with the Inkwell filter. Pop Rocket. That's going to go ahead and be a picture of a bouncy house. And then the caption is going to say, had a fun Saturday. Gotham. Gotham, that's going to go ahead and be... I'm a little scared to say what just popped up into my mind. I'll just say it. I think that a troubled teen would take a picture of a weapon with the Gotham filter. And then the caption would be something like, no one will ever understand. Something like that. But honestly, I kind of predict that this style of photo editing is going to come back. And a part of me is, thinking, should my next Instagram post be a singular selfie with one of the preset Instagram filters just slapped right onto there? If that's the case, I hope you'll love and support me. In the way that Y2K is really big right now, I think once Bella Hadid gets her hands on a, pop rocket, we're going to be full swing back with the 2010s. I think nostalgia bait is just so in. I mean, they always say that everything cycles anyway, so it's really only a matter of time. The summer kickoff photo shoot, you were able to complete the checklist. Yes, we have all of the models fitted for their Aeropostale and Hollister graphic tees, jeggings, and the Knit Uggs and triangle bikinis are currently in transit. Props and set design. Yes, we were able to get a permit for an overnight shoot at a local playground to simulate teen loitering, and on set we will have baby pink Nintendo DS's, silly bands, iPod Nanos, and a bottle of Bath & Body Works Sweet Pea Lotion. Wonderful. I also made a playlist for the shoot day. It's just the song Dynamite by Tayo Cruz playing on repeat. The preset Instagram filters. Already have them fully available, and I also downloaded PixArt for the entire post-production team so that we can have access to all of the semi-hideous borders that we need. Let's make them fully hideous. Copy that. God, people are going to eat this shit up, and we don't even have to come up with anything new. I love it. Okay, now I need to talk about these things when it comes to old school Instagram. Our tried and true like for a TBH. Now, if you don't know what like for a TBH is, basically it's like a beacon of hope and truth. Essentially, someone would post on their Instagram some sort of graphic that says like for a TBH, and then people would like that post, and then you as the poster would go through your likes, go to each person's account and DM them or comment on one of their photos what you thought of them. And now here's the thing with like for a TBH. Although she is iconic, she was also kind of serving us a nothing burger with a side of absent fries, right? Like for a TBH, and then lo and behold, the TBH is, I think you're funny. TBH, you're cool. What am I supposed to do with that? I'm not expecting a dissertation, but I mean, come on. I saw that only 12 people liked that post, and I know that we don't have homework this weekend. So you could at least give each of us a full sentence that's maybe has a little bit more thought, you know? I wouldn't even mind getting the English department involved to kind of enforce a word count on these things because we need to start taking some authoritative action. However, I do understand if your like for a TBH post is getting more towards the 50 to 70 like kind of range, just throw them a TBH, I think you're funny, right? I'm not getting paid to do this. Also, I have a 3-paragraph essay about death of a salesman due in 5 weeks. So that's kind of going to be taking up a lot of my time. And you know, I hate to point this out. I hate to hold a grudge, but there were a couple times where I liked someone's like for a TBH post and they never even gave me a TBH. And that's a travesty. It's scary to think about, but there were people out there who, at the ripe age of 13, were neglecting their peers. If you can even believe that. They were neglecting to give the TBHs that people rightfully paid for with a like. Hi.
Hey, Tammy!
Hi.
You are a hard one to track down. I just came to attain what is rightfully mine.
What do you mean by that?
So actually, in September of 2012, you posted a graphic like for a TBH onto your Instagram account, Tamalicious47, and I liked that photo, and I never received my TBH, even though you did TBHs for Emma, Zoe, Becca, Claire, Cleo, Forsh, and...
I'm sorry, we went to school together?
Amanda. Mosquito Bite Mandy.
Oh, right. It's good to see you.
Yes! So I was just wondering if I could get that TBH now.
Oh, you're serious?
Well, it is like for a TBH, and I liked, but nary a TBH was ever to be seen. And I'd say that I've been pretty patient considering it's been 11 years.
Okay, this is really weird.
It's actually not weird. It's an exchange of goods and services. It's actually quite simple. I give you a like, and so you give me a TBH.
Okay, TBH, bitch, you're really freaking me out, and I think that you need to leave now.
Okay. See, was that so hard? Also, congrats on the wedding. I saw the pictures. TBH, they look tacky.
Okay, fuck you, bitch.
Fuck you!
Now, to my knowledge, this never happened to anyone at my school. However, I just had a vision. And I know it must be someone's reality, where there was a middle schooler who is now currently 26 years old. And someone liked their like for a TBH post. Someone that they were not fond of. And they went to this person's profile, got into their comment section, and just let it rip. TBH, I think that you're a nasty skank who was in over her head running for homecoming queen last year. By the way, your posters was almost as fugly as your haircut in math class this morning. Have fun with Brad, aka my sloppy seconds, you good-for-nothing skank. Guys, please comment down below if you had any drama at your school in regards to like for a TBH, because I could just so easily see that happening where, of course, it is could be used as a method to uplift. It also could be used as a method to be brutally honest. Yes, I did say that gym class with you feels like an olfactory punishment because of your odor. You asked for a TBH. And I remember sometimes with these TBHs, there would be a little cherry on top that could be sweet or sour, like for a TBH, and rate. Now, maybe people were doing rates on the basis of personality, but I think a lot of people were also doing it only on the basis of looks. So it's kind of amazing how we've set up this system back then of like this photo and I will give you a rather general and shallow compliment and objectify you. No, I do feel like this system was mainly for friends and people that you thought highly of and just a chance to basically give people compliments. But it's still funny to think about, and it's funny how things just reinvent themselves. I mean, like for a TBH and rate walked so that those am I attractive Reddit forums or going to a looks maxer to ask him what is specifically wrong with my entire face and body so that those things could run. But of course, like for a TBH and rate is much more tame than the things that we see today, right? I mean, imagine a certified looks maxer doing a TBH back then for someone who's in like 7th grade. It would have been unlike anything that we actually experienced. Oh my God, Ryan just gave me a TBH and rate. What did he say? TBH, I think you're in my math class. 6. A 6? That's like literally above average. Yeah, I'll try to keep that in mind because I do feel a little insulted right now. No, you're like so lucky. Oh my God. Brayden just gave me a TBH and a rate. What? What does yours say? TBH, you have a negative canthal tilt and an undefined jaw. Start mewing now or you might spend the rest of your life being frame-mogged. Honestly, your facial proportions make you lean more towards chud status. You don't even have the potential to become a Chad-lite, let alone a Chad. In order to ascend, you'll need Bimax and continuous minimal facial fracturing. Get mogged. 3. What the hell? I don't know. I don't know why I feel scared right now. I'm scared. Another relic of this time is Ask FM. Glory be. In my experience, a lot of us were using our Instagrams to kind of promote our Ask FMs to sort of be like, hey, come on, peers! Don't you want to ask me a question? Aren't you curious? So although Ask FM is a completely different platform, I really do associate it with Instagram, kind of peas in a pod vibes. But if you don't know what Ask FM is, maybe you're too young or maybe your parents were just running that shit like the Navy. It's a website, or it was a website, where you could ask people questions anonymously. You know, with Instagram and Facebook, those places were a bit more monitored. Ask FM, it was the jungle. The wilderness of sorts. It became kind of like an after-school playground for people to make drama, instigate, bully, and I don't want to get into the bullying part because I'm actually going to make a video about the evolution of cyberbullying. I know sometimes I talk about things in this video and I'm like, or in videos, and I'm like, I don't actually want to delve into that too much because I want to make a dedicated video about it, but I do want to focus more on just like that era, that age. There is just like this incessant need to get approval from your peers. And there's this quote that I want to show you that I actually find to be quite true and inspirational. However, in the early days of Instagram, you weren't trying to be a fake version of yourself for strangers. You were trying to be a fake version of yourself for people that you knew in real life, the way that it should be. With Ask FM, it kind of gave this avenue to show your peers, hey, people care about me, because a lot of this stuff was happening after school. So it just goes to show, hey, yeah, a lot of my classmates actually do have object permanence and they're thinking about me when I'm not there right in front of them. I know for some people the thought of that maybe was stressful if you wanted to be a little bit more of a wallflower. right? Perks of being on the wall and you're a flower. But for some people, I think it would have been really exciting. I know when I would get a question on Ask FM, it would feel like, who? Me? Oh, little old me, you want to know who I have a crush on? Mom, Dad, these people at my school, they want to know where I got my Aeropostale graphic t-shirt. I don't care how obvious the answer is. They still asked. I recall at my school, the popular girls were getting tons of questions. I can't even say questions, tons of submissions, right? Because a lot of the stuff was just, hey, I think you're really cute. Okay, not a question. Obviously, there's a correlation between popularity and the amount of submissions you would get on Ask FM. For me, personally, the well was a little bit dry. But this almost reminds me of, and stay with me here, how people say that there's no more middle-class actor. You have really, really poor actors or really, really rich actors. Popularity in Ask FM almost felt similar, where you would get a lot of submissions in a bullying kind of way if you were a big, big loser back then. Obviously, these people are probably more successful than we could ever imagine. And then you get the really, really popular girls who probably peaked then perhaps and are just like running an MLM now. But they would get a lot of submissions. And then you have the people in the middle where just like no one really cares. So now we're really taking it back to school. It's kind of a parabola shape where only these two people are on the highest ends getting a lot of submissions on Ask FM. The Ask FM Awards. Not to be confused with the Ask FM Awards located in Bushwick. Hello and welcome to the official live stream for the Ask FM Awards. Tonight, we will be recognizing the most prominent users of Ask FM, honoring the trailblazers of embracing curiosity. The award for most submissions goes to, oh guys, it's a tie, for Tammy Tan and Amanda Wang. We wanted to read some of the submissions that each winner had received throughout the year to commemorate their accomplishments, so go ahead and read, girls. Okay. You looked so hot last night at the football game, and I really wanted to ask you to prom, but I'm really intimidated by you. Aw, that is so sweet. I have no idea who submitted this, but I probably wouldn't go with you. Okay, now you next. Mine says, you know you're supposed to run the mile, right? You walked, LOL. Okay, I'll read my next one. You and Corey would make such a cute couple. Oh my god, stop, like whatever, I don't even care. Mine says, Garrett has a crush on you. You should ask him to homecoming. And then that was immediately followed up with, hi, this is Garrett. Ignore that last message. That was my friend. Please don't talk to me in math class tomorrow. Whew, okay, let's move to the next category. That is brutal. Now, of course, I'm sure you're all waiting for me to bring this up. In this video where I'm basically talking about nothing. The anonymity of Ask FM made it very easy to ask yourself questions. Mama is curious about mama. I honestly cannot remember if I ever asked myself questions on Ask FM. However, I can confidently say that I did, just because I feel that in my gut to be true. Because a lot of middle school and high school is a little bit of a blur to me, right? I can't remember any distinct times that I ever vomited, but I'm sure that I did, just because, like, duh. Asking yourself questions on Ask FM was a fairly foolproof method to showcase desirability, right? Maybe you're trying to impress a crush and show that, you know, there's already some people interested. Maybe you're just trying to showcase to your friends, like, hey, I know that Jared from science class has a crush on you, but like someone also has a crush on me, although they would prefer to remain anonymous. It was such a harmless crime that was also indicative of something so pathetic that it could only be thought of as par for the course only in that age demographic, when you are more prone to doing things that are pathetic. Like, yes, I did say to myself, hey, I think you're really pretty. And then I responded and posted publicly, aw, thank you, to myself. But here's the thing, I'm sure someone else was thinking it and I was just the one brave enough to verbalize it. And this brings me back to things never truly die. They just reinvent themselves, right? Because Instagram currently has a question feature where you can post on your story and get people to submit questions or statements to you, I guess. Now, the submissions are not anonymous to the creator, but if the creator decides to publish your submission, it will be, your username won't show on their public story. So it's kind of only semi-anonymous, but it makes it very easy for people to ask themselves questions that they can like freely post on their own Instagram story, right? And I wouldn't be surprised if there are fully grown adults doing this nowadays. However, here comes that key difference, right? Back then on Ask FM, we were doing this shit to gain the validation of our peers. I think nowadays it would more so be for the validation of strangers. I think people are asking themselves stuff on Instagram to maybe be like the setup for a punchline, or to just ask about things that no one could truly be wondering. I don't know. Now, this is really just based off of me living in New York and being around a bunch of content creators or socialites, whatever. And I can't confirm this to be true because obviously these people aren't going to openly admit that they're asking themselves questions on their own Instagram. But this is just a gut feeling I have where, you know, maybe it's less of the OMG, I think you're really cute type stuff that we were seeing back then, and more, oh my God, I love your necklace. Where did you get it? And then you get to plug your Etsy shop. Or, hey, are there still tickets for your Williamsburg stand-up comedy show? And then you get to say, yes, there are. Here's the link. I mean, it's honestly kind of smart. Right hand on the Bible. I've never done it. Can't say it's beyond me, though. I have a short film I'm making later this year. I might have to use that as a promo tactic. That might be something I want to explore. I could also see people just using it as a way to just talk about stuff that wouldn't be brought up otherwise. Grace Kohlenschmidt, comedian and actor, actually talked about this in her podcast with Joe Castle-Baker, another comedian and actor. I'm sorry, I'm obsessed with their fucking podcast. I have been for like the past 2 years. No new episode in those 2 years, mind you. I'm a woman of routine, I think. There was this episode where she was talking about people asking themselves, where it's like a micro influencer from Vegas is being asked things like, can you tell me about your volunteer experience in high school? Is someone really asking you that? Or, you know, I heard a rumor that you're very virtuous and have recently donated to a charity. Could you expand on that? All in all, Ask FM has given us an art that has still persisted until today. Asking yourself questions online, anonymously. Here to talk with us is Dr. Chang of SAOI, the Seeking Attention Online Institute. So, Dr. Chang, what are some things that our viewers, should know about online behavior, and which ones tend to persist or not?
Well, that's a great question. But I have an even better question for you and the viewers at home. How do you manage being so successful and attractive, and are you still selling upcycled thrift finds on your Depop? That is so funny that you asked that. Yes, I am.
The last thing I want to talk about is the first kind of Instagram celebrity who these people were getting famous off of doing these 4-panel comics, which if you are in my age demographic, when I show this on screen, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. For example, arguably one of the most famous ones. Girls, did you know that your boobs go inside your shirt? And this first one was actually so successful that it had many spin-offs, one of them being, hey girls, did you know that your boobs, potato. This one's also pretty inspiring. Hey ladies, do me a favor, don't show me your boobs, show me your mind. This one says, I'm ugly, I'm pregnant. What? I thought we were naming things that are impossible. Okay, this one is kind of smart in like a business move way. I would be extremely upset if I lost my mom. Like if you agree. And I would hope that this resulted in a lot of likes. I mean, I think that this is a smart tactic. Maybe my next Instagram post should be 4 pictures of me saying something like, I would be very warm if I was on fire. Like if you agree. But yeah, I basically just want to take a moment to recognize how much these have impacted the culture. Me taking on a prayer stance. Because, you know, before this, I didn't know that girls' boobs were supposed to go inside their shirt. I thought that the female nipple was somewhat of a, like a, you know, a yield sign. Like in the way that you're supposed to look at it, I guess. I actually don't know what I'm talking about. People got relatively famous off of doing this type of stuff. I'm imagining that the majority of these people were probably in school at the height of this, maybe 13 to 17 years old. A lot of the guys had a sort of Justin Bieber essence. And a lot of the girls look like they would have been casted as a bully in a Lifetime movie that was supposed to spread awareness about teen suicide. I don't mean that as an insult. I'm just being observational. It's an interesting part of early Instagram that is truly a relic of the past. You know, I feel, you know, with Vine, for example, I got my start on Vine. But even though Vine has its own distinct humor of the time, it has the iteration of TikTok. I can't think of any, you know, present day example of what the 4-panel comic meme sort of format was back then. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe we need to bring that back. Maybe we need to bring it back. The very last thing, did I say that was the last thing I wanted to talk about? This is the very last thing I want to talk about, is the emergence of the Finsta. Finsta started gaining a lot more traction around 2015-ish, right? So a couple years after Instagram had initially come out. I think people were starting to sense the shift of wanting to polish yourself for social media. So then they were like, okay, I need a designated place where I can just be me. Unfiltered, you know, bag of frozen peas on the head. Oh my God, Emily, we can't take you anywhere. People thought to themselves, now what if I had an Instagram account where I was so painfully myself that discretion is required for who has access to this? This is just for my closest friends, my ride or dies, not for someone that I did National Honor Society with like 3 years ago and we haven't even spoken since. You know, instead of posting a picture of my avocado toast, I'm posting a picture of myself crying on the toilet, and the caption is a 3-paragraph confession of how I feel fundamentally unlovable. The objective was not maintaining an aesthetic, but rather getting something off of your chest that teetered the line between sad but relatable versus evidence that you need to be 5150'd. Finstas really posed the question, what if I took my personal diary entries and combined it with a scrapbook and then made it accessible to around 15 to 70 people? It was basically close friends before close friends was really a thing. And although the point of the Finsta was to be completely unfiltered, just simply yourself, there was still this aura of people almost putting themselves in the position of a jester in this odd way where it's, you know, look at me, I'm so crazy and chaotic, I'm getting myself into all of these shenanigans. You know, in college it was a lot of like, I'm a sugar baby and, you know, I just had dinner with a 57-year-old man for shits and giggles, well, and here's a picture of my antidepressants. You know, that phase I think corresponded a lot with the peak of the cultural trend of a lot of young people having this attitude of, I'm so mentally unwell. And it's actually really funny and cool of me to do that. And you know, I actually did have a Finsta for a little bit, but it wasn't crazy or chaotic or funny. It was an account where I had 0 followers, 0 following. And I would just post on there a random selfie of me, and I would just, the caption would be something like, I don't think I'm meant for romantic love. I will no longer accept the bare minimum. I have to do it on behalf of myself, my friends, and family. For me, right, no one was following that account, which almost makes it more pathetic. Not to say that Finstas are pathetic, but once you start reaching above the 100 followers range, it's like okay, just post on main. I'm sorry, you're close enough with over 100 people to update them on the status of your yeast infection. I mean, honestly, good for you. But yeah, I always just found it interesting when people would have a Finsta that kind of has a lot of followers. Like, hello, I thought this was supposed to be an exclusive club. Having a Finsta with a ton of followers is like me saying, I want to have a close and intimate gathering at Madison Square Garden. God, I'm like so fucking hungover, but whatever. Last night I was at a party with number 2 on my roster, but then I left him to go hang out with number 5 because he was at a different party that I really wanted to go to. But then here's the gag, he wasn't even there, so I couldn't get in. I'm sorry, you stood me up and you're not even my favorite? Like, I'm super fucking pissed. Like, I'm literally done with that pencil dick. So then I went over back to number 2, but then here's the thing. I saw number 2 making out with my lab partner. And I'm a girl's girl, so I didn't take it out on her, but let's just say I went to number 2's dorm and, well, took a big steaming number 2. So, sorry, that's kind of like gross and embarrassing, but I'm trusting you guys with this because you're all my dear close friends. So anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed reminiscing and just talking about the past and harping on the past. I know today's video was a little more, it's like, was I talking about anything important? Like, not particularly, but I kind of just wanted to chat because I was just thinking about how Instagram specifically has changed so much. Let me know, comment, what's something you miss from early Instagram, or what's something you hated from early Instagram that you're so happy it changed. Anyways, you guys have a good day, okay? I hope that you get to see a pretty sunset soon and then capture that on your mobile phone so that you can post it for people to see and like and comment on. All right, until next time.